Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay, so welcome back. This is the last video for week 3, which is focused on looking at the Indian rules of of plastic waste management and also the global rules and regulations. And we have been trying to discuss the rule, critique the rules, and then we have done that for Indian rules. We spent quite a amount of time on that. So we'll continue with the global rules, which we just introduced towards the end of the last video. We talked about United Nations, we talked about UK, we were discussing the UK stuff. So let's continue the same discussion, and then we'll look at several other countries. So and then it will be in summary. If you are interested, of course, you can look for more details. We will try to put some documents, we will actually put some documents as a week 3 reading material, which will have not only the waste management rules of India, but the waste management rules and other documents, relevant documents related to the rules and regulations from other parts of the world. So you will get, if you are interested, you can, especially those of you who are law background or has a interest in policy side, for them it will be helpful to look at the rules and regulations of other countries as well. So with continuation of this week, as we said, we will be talking about the rules in India, which we have already done. We started doing the global rules as well. So let's continue that discussion of the second bullet, which shows up here. So we are looking at UK in terms of the rules and regulations of UK. So continuing with that, now there are certain initiatives that have been taken by the government side. But at the same time, as you will see in this particular video, I will show you several examples from around the world where several initiatives have also been taken on a voluntary basis by the manufacturers, by the producers, and also in some places even retailers, big mall owners, and several like if, for example, we have presently, even at IIT Kharagpur, we are trying to not use plastic as much as possible. If you go to our market, if you are visiting our campus, you will see several banners say no to plastic. So there are certain, and that's we don't, like West Bengal does not ban plastic yet. So a single-use plastic, there is no ban in West Bengal as of today, but IIT Kharagpur community decided to do that and go ahead and doing it. Of course, there are challenges in implementation, but there are some, of course, we will make some at least positive impact on single-use plastic material, which we are trying to reduce the usage on campus. So those we will discuss that. You will see a lot of global angle there as well. So UK. They found that UK supermarkets and food companies, they put a voluntary pledge to cut plastic packaging. As ministers were trying to, this is because the ministers were also in the government wanted them to do it, and the public doesn't want to see the huge volume of plastic rubbish, because there is a lot of discussion going around with plastic or planet. National Geographic is also involved, which I mentioned to you that we will be doing some work with them very soon in terms of plastic going to River Ganga. So there are with a lot of public kind of build up among the public community that we should not use plastic. It's not good for our health. It's not good for our food and other stuff. So it forces the companies to take some action. So they took some action where they were trying to reduce the packaging material in the plastic. So industries the minister is making a statement here saying that industry action can prevent excess plastic reaching our supermarket shelf in the first place. So and he was happy that many businesses sign up. So hopefully things will improve. But there are, of course, you have to, for everything there are pros and cons and critiques, and you have to look at from a critical point of view as an unbiased assessment. So there is also another side of the argument which they say that retailers can pick and choose whether to sign a plastic act, a series of pledges that have no enforcement mechanism. It's a pledge. So whether if I don't follow that pledge, I'm not being penalized for it. So sometimes if you are too much stressed out, you will probably not follow the pledge, because it's not the rule which is not enforced. There is no penalty associated with that. So the pledge fails to commit to removing all single-use plastic, and they are only looking at problematic or unnecessary single-use plastic by 2025. So it is a step which in a positive way, but again a lot of things needs to be done, a lot of things are desired. So it's kind of you have to look at from both perspective. Going to US, there are certain states in US, especially the New England states and some progressive cities like San Francisco. They have banned mandatory use of recyclables or compostable checkout bags. So they have been doing it for almost 7-8 years now, because I remember when I was in San Francisco, maybe more than 5 years ago now, there were no plastic bags in many of the grocery stores. They will give you paper bag, compostable paper bags, which you can use, or you can bring your own bag. So that's in many places in the Western world now, in say part of US, which progressive cities in US and as well as in European Union, you will find carrying your own bag is actually a cool thing to do, which is becoming a cool thing again in India, because they are doing it, so we do it. We try to follow them, we try to copy them many times, but they try to copy our old practices. So East is trying to move, copying the West, and West is copying the older East. So the cycle continues. So anything which goes out of fashion today, save it. In 20 years from now, you may be able to use the same pair of your goggles, because it will again come back in fashion. So plastic bag reduction and ordinance was passed in San Francisco, I think nearly almost maybe 7-8 more than around 2012 or before that. So it's all stores shall provide only the following: checkout bags, recyclable paper bag, compostable plastic bags, or reusable bag. Violation has penalties. Nothing they can make a reusable bag available for sale to the customers. So rather than giving them. So beginning, that was in 2012. So beginning, no store shall provide a recyclable paper bag or reusable bag to a customer at the point of sale, unless the store charges the customer a bag of 10 cents per bag. So just to have a uniformity, so that one store is not charging, other store is charging, then it becomes a competition is unfair. So just to have, like, you have to pay 10 cents per bag. So that's that will deter people. That will force people to at least some people will bring their own bag rather than spend those 10 cents, especially if you go to the market and you need 8 or 10 bags because you bought a lot of stuff. That's almost close to $1. So why you will do that? You can get a coffee in $1. So beginning October 1, no store including food establishments shall provide a compostable plastic bag unless they charge at 10 cents. Shall require to charge its customers a checkout bag charge for bag provided for a customer's leftover food or sit down restaurant dining. So if it's a part of the food, you don't have to do it. And then see the penalties. Again, we don't have to read everything. A fine for $100 for the first violation, $200 for the second violation within the same year, $500 for each additional violation within the same year. So it's a strict enforcement. So whenever there is an ordinance or the rule or a regulation coming out, if the enforcement part is not proper, so if those 100, 200, 500 does happen in San Francisco, but we have numbers, we will have those very good numbers of fine and everything in India, but that doesn't really get implemented. So that's where the problem is. We have to have a proper implementation. But again, as you can see here, they are talking about, they made those paper bag available, they make those reusable bag available, they made those compostable bag available, then only they are asking people to you follow the rule. So you have to give them alternatives. So if you don't give them alternatives and just come up with a rule, that rule is bound to fail, because if there is no alternative, what the people will do? They have to use that The other day I was in a market in a shop, and with jalebi. Those of you who know jalebi and pakoras and all. And if the jalebi is put in a paper bag, it becomes soggy very quickly. So if it's because it needs to be in an airtight place, so they put in a plastic bag and just put a seal on it, tie the note on it, and it remains fresh for a longer period of time. So what that shop owner will do, if he doesn't have a other alternative to have those bags which he or she can use in place of that plastic bag, because the customer will not like soggy stuff, so he has to sell his product. There has to be an alternative available which is comparable price, which is in a competitive price. Then only people will be easily able to move, and if then people doesn't move, put all these fines and enforce it. That's how they did it in San Francisco. So we most of the times we do half baked stuff in India. That's where the problem is. We need to take the full picture, and the government cannot just leave everything to the private parties. The government has to speak. The government also has to take a lot of action on its own. Has to make a lot of things happen on its own. Government offices actually has to really get gear up and do a lot of things because they are the only offices which can put all these stakeholders together. Other stakeholders doesn't have that capability, I can say, or maybe they say, because who will listen? If the government says, people will listen. Other companies says people may not listen. They will say that they maybe have a certain business motive behind it. So that's what we need to kind of grow that culture. That's where our waste management in general fails in this country, because we don't have that culture. So then again, the penalties are also there in the event that city adopts an ordinance creating a procedure to review administrative penalty based on California government code. City may impose administrative penalties for violation. Again, the same thing, charged, and this is 100, 200 and 500. City attorney may seek legal, impunitive or other equitable relief to enforce this ordinance, including without limitation civil penalties. Then 200 for first violation, 400 for second violation, 600 for each subsequent violation in a given year. So that's a hefty fine. 400, like $200, you can probably, if you get a good deal, you can probably buy a mini iPad in $250, around $200 to $250. $500 will buy you a decent laptop actually. And then if that's the amount of a pretty decent laptop, $500 will buy you. That's close to, as of Indian rupees today, that's closer. We are looking at closer to something between 35,000 to 40,000 Indian rupees. So that's a lot of money, and that can buy a pretty decent laptop to you. So that's kind of the level of fine is there. So and it's enforced. If it's enforced, people will follow it. But of course, you have to give them the option. The options has to be there. South Korea, they have a Korea Zero Waste Movement network leading to a nationwide campaign against single-use plastic, disposable cups, straws and all that. There are a lot of voluntary agreements with the larger scale, smaller scale grocery stores, encourage all actors, like break free from plastic and all those kind of stuff. In August 2018, the Korean government introduced a stricter regulation on single-use plastic item, which is a ban on plastic cups and umbrella covers at government offices. A ban on plastic. These umbrella covers, actually, some of you may be familiar with that, some of you may not be, but umbrella covers are usually provided at, it's a thin plastic again, provided at the government offices in many countries, where if you are coming with a rain, because your water will drip all along in the office corridor from your umbrella, so you can put in that plastic bag and carry it with that, so it doesn't drip along inside the offices. So, but they have banned that on a umbrella cover, so it maybe then they have to have some different umbrella covers, because that is also needed. Otherwise, that becomes a problem in terms of water on inside the office. People may slip, and those kind of issues are there. Ban on plastic bags at grocery store, new fine for the use of plastic cup at coffee shops and fast food restaurants. So again, they have to provide the alternatives associated with that. Japan Container and Packaging Act, this came long back, almost it's close to now 18 plus 5, 23 years ago. So Japan, they were looking at packaging and containers and packaging recycling act. They have to sort all the waste and try to recycle as much as possible. it adopted the concept of extended producer responsibility for the first time in Japan. So, Japan was talking about EPR 23 years ago, and many other countries, European Union and other countries have started after that. And of course, in this kind of concept from a implementation point of view is still in a very nascent stage in India. We are just talking about it, not much implementation is happening. So, in terms of Japan Act, you have to sort disposal. Consumers will bring the waste in a sorted waste, and you dump it. Sorted collection for use container. Municipality will take that waste. After sorting it, it goes for competitive bidding, goes to recycling manufacturing site. Here where you have designated Japan Container Packaging Recycling Association, payment of recycling cost to fulfill obligation. There are specified business operators for plastic container manufacture, for food manufacture, and then it kind of goes back, the circle continues in terms of recycling of plastic and other recyclables. Recently, last around 6 months back, Japan 7 months back introduced the looking at the microplastics getting into the ocean. So they were banning it. They were looking at passes anti-plastic law. They were trying to get rid of that. Unanimous approval to seek the encourage business to reduce the use of microplastics, including microbeads. Those are tiny plastic particle used in creams like when you use scrubbers and other cosmetic products. But there is no punishment right now. So, it is just probably the first step. And the world leaders have voiced concern, and 5 countries of the group of 7 meeting in Canada signed up a new charter to limit plastic pollution. Canada, as we will talk about in a later time, has a huge coastline, and water, those beaches are very, very important for Canadian economy. So, they need to keep it clean. Those waters need to be clean. Japan, along with US, did not sign up the charter, which aims to bring the increase, which among other things was to increase plastic recycling. So, that was a little bit drawback on Japanese side. Don't know why they ended up doing that, because Japan is known for better environmental practices. So, but sometimes the politics kind of overtakes, so that could be something around that line. Japan industries started taking measure to address concern of microplastic. So, there are the new laws also is there. So, there are some initiatives there. So, others, if you can go online and start looking at, you will find from Brazil, Belgium, Dominican Republic, Panama, Philippines, every country is looking at plastic today. And so, plastic waste is a huge, it's a big topic as of now. That is the reason why this course. So, that I thought that I will put again, as I said in the very beginning of the course, I am a student of this course as much as you are. So, what we are doing from here is we are trying to get the information collected as much as possible, put it together in a critical way, discuss it in these videos, and present to you based on my expertise of working in this field on different waste stream for nearly 2 decades now. So, I can put I can compare, contrast, which probably since I have the background to do that, but at the same time I am also learning. I am also learning a lot of new stuff. So, I request all of you that if you find any new information which we could not cover in this course, do put it in the discussion forum for the interest of everyone, including me, so that it will help us to learn more. It is a evolving topic. Lot of things are happening. It's highly dynamic. Every day if I go or just do a Google search for a news and other stuff, I find at least 8 or 10 articles, good articles related to plastics from different places in the world. So, it's not possible to cover everything in one course. So, but this is just a seed. It's a seed which is trying to put a perspective, so that once you take this course, whoever is interested in working in this area, you should get a baseline now. You get a baseline and you can go further from here. So, that is the whole purpose of offering this course. And again, this kind of course, you have to have a lifelong learner. It is not possible. Lifelong learning is what is needed today, because degrees are okay, but degrees are not that relevant in the job market. You need to have skills, and to develop the new skill, you need to be a lifelong learner. So, coming back here, so as this slide is showing you this that there is a lot of work is going on in different countries, Belgium, Brazil, Dominican Republic, they are coming up with their plan. Canada, which just I referred to a few minutes back, which is the world's largest coastline, and they are funding a lot of community based program, the beach cleanups, and critical out research. They are also looking at critical research in the impact of microplastics. These microplastics are dangerous. It's a concern for the environment because they are getting into the fish, they are getting into even our salt. There are an IIT Bombay a study was done where the Indian the salts that are most of the major brands of salt that is sold in Indian market, they took that and they analyzed it for microplastics, and they found in many of them microplastics, traces of microplastic there. So this is coming into our salt. So salt is used in pretty much every day in the food, and it will get into our body too, which is not good. So they are looking at it also draws up regulation to manufacture and sell of toiletries containing microbeads. So that's that's a Canadian initiative is going on. Indonesia, its goal is to reduce 70% by 2030. So reduce the plastic waste. Kenya, Jordan, Madagascar, Chile, France have banned or placed to ban single-use plastic or non-biodegradable plastic bags. Denmark, France, Ireland, Netherlands already have a rule since 2011, 2012, and and consumption to reduce the consumption of the carrier bags. And those countries consumed fewer bags than the average because these countries are a bit environmentally more cautious. The people in general are aware of the environmental issues. Literacy rate is also pretty high in compared to if you take the world average. So they have a practice, they have a habit of doing things in that way. So it's they are using much less plastic, they are generating much less plastic compared to other parts of the world. Israel, another big not a big country from a size, but pretty much big country in terms of the world power and in terms of the technology. That they use for different stuff. And Israel tries to have 70% of its beaches clean, and 70% of the time of this year, ban on certain types of plastic bag. Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Sweden are implement the Nordic program. Those are called Nordic countries on a sustainable approach to plastic by preventing plastic waste, encouraging recycling, and promoting a circular economy. Circular economy is where you try to bring it back. So it's like a circle. So that's why it's a circle. Right now, most of the economy is linear. So we try to go from linear economy to circular economy. And New Zealand, again, they have a lot of tourism. They want to keep everything clean. So they have banned products containing plastic microbeads from June of last year, and is developing options to get rid of single-use plastic bags. So New Zealand has banned the products containing plastic microbeads from June of 2018, and is developing options to get rid of single-use plastic bags. So that's another example. EU member states policy, they have a policy in terms of limiting the consumption of plastic bag. In April 2015, European Parliament passed amending the packaging and waste directive, reducing the consumption of lightweight plastic carrier bag, which are mostly single-use ones. So that is there. Just few months back, 250 groups launched massive global plastic partnership. So they have a 250 organizations responsible for 20% of the plastic packaging of the world. So they got around and committed to reducing waste and pollution. So pollution from plastic. This initiative has been named as New Plastic Economy Global Commitment, and includes diverse group of members, including the City of Austin clothing company H&M, which is a big chain in the US, and I think I saw that in Australia too. Unilever, PepsiCo, L'Oreal, Nestle, Coca-Cola. So and then there are several other companies. So these are the big ones. So this global commitment touts a high-profile partnership. It is partnership with the United Nations, and also led by Ellen MacArthur Foundation. If those of you are not familiar with that, Google Ellen MacArthur, and this is that they are doing a lot of good stuff in terms of waste management, environmental protection, and also talking about the circular economy and all. Consumer Goods Forum, and 40 academic institutions. So they have a partnership with academic institution in terms of doing research and teaching. So academic institutions are also, partnership is also very important, which is one thing we don't that much, that culture is again missing in India. Academics, institutions and industries interaction is very low compared to what is I have seen abroad during my work abroad, but unfortunately there is a mistrust on both sides. So, hopefully that gradually it is getting better, but again it is pretty low in Indian context. So, being said that, we looked at plastic waste management rules of India. We also looked at global plastic waste management rules. So, in terms of to summarize, if we want to summarize into what we have done in this particular week, and also in a big picture, we all know that plastic they are durable stuff. They are durable. That's the reason why they are used that much, and they are recyclables. Many of the plastics are recyclables. So, all what we need to ensure that plastic is reclaimed and reprocessed rather than irresponsibly discarded. And as you look at any of this plastic bottle or plastic product, you will see a triangle with a number in there. So, number 1, 2, 3, 4 they mean different type of plastic. So, most of the number 1 through 5 they are recyclable. Number 1 is PET, 2 is HDPE, and then rest on, and they are pretty much recyclables. Technology is out there. So, they can be recycled. Only thing is that we have to collect it properly and use it properly. Waste management, proper waste management will be one of the major issue in terms of plastic is the marine litter, the plastic that is getting into our ocean, and that can happen even from the plastic that you and I are using at our home. If we don't manage in our municipality those plastic properly, it will get into the surface water. From surface water, from a stream, it will go to your river. From the river, finally it will go to the ocean, and that is what is happening. And by the time it reaches ocean, and in the ocean it gets broken down into smaller pieces, and it kind of becomes those smaller pieces becomes more dangerous. So, those things should be avoided. There is a need for more support and investment in the waste management infrastructure with a focus on Southeast Asia, especially in this part of the world. Our waste management system needs a lot of focus. And one of the things is that if you really want to reduce the litter, you have to do a lot of capacity building. We have to have a lot of training programs for our municipal workers, a lot of communication outreach to people in general. And during my solid waste class, I have given that example that if you are in New Zealand, they will give you so much information regarding recycling of waste that within if you stay there for 3-4 months, you will get it. You cannot really make a further mistake. It will be in the newspaper every Sunday with a big. In India, we usually will have a big product being sold, but there at least one page just on how to sort the garbage. And many of the newspaper publish it for free for them actually, and then there will be booths at community events and other places. There will be a booth which will teach you how to sort the garbage. So, there are a lot of schools, they give that information on the TV, in between the TV program they give the information. So, you are getting the information and it's the same message. It's not especially if you have multiple message, confusing messages is not there. That messaging is also very, very important. You need to keep it. New Zealand is a small country, so they can do that. In India, we will win in a different language, but again, we have to make sure that the message is clear, is simple, and easily understood, and no ambiguity, so that people should not be able to interpret in a different way. Make it as simple, as clear as possible. Doing things simply, making things simple is the most hardest thing to do. So, we want to make it something very simple. That's one of the hardest thing, and which those of you who work in those areas, you know that. Government and industry has to start talking to each other. And there has to be behavior change campaign. Look at improve the recycling infrastructure. Develop a circular economy concept rather than ensuring the plastic can be recycled as close to the generation point as possible. Because if you are taking the plastic waste and taking it to several hundred kilometers, the amount of the transportation fuel and other things that you will end up using, you may not be doing really good to the environment, because there will be an environmental footprint associated with that. Shipping industries and the fishing industries should continue to work on minimize the waste entering the sea from the ships and shipping containers. So, that is also important. And overall, what we need is a more holistic approach in designing our national strategy in terms of implementation of the plastic waste management, or in general the waste management. Different stakeholders needs to be brought in board, where we talk to each other, making a policy which cannot be implemented because we do not have the infrastructure, coming up with a policy which our industry is not ready to adopt. It is not really going to solve the problem. When we want to solve the problem, we need to have a practical policy which should be discussed with all the stakeholders, including the industry partners, including those people who has to follow this policy. And then gradually you make it something simple and then add layer of complexities later on. Do not start with something very complex and which you cannot really implement, and then since you cannot implement, you already violated the rule. People think that, okay, I violated one rule, now if I violate 10 rule, how does it matter? So, that things has to be done. We have to look at the interdisciplinary sector. Rather than having a blanket ban or a tax introduced without prior research, without having alternative, that is really not going to work. Consumer behavior and acceptance needs to be looked into account in terms of plastic bag policy, and that is the important issue for further research and other things as well. So, those of you who are interested from a policy perspective, there is a lot of work that can be done. Those of a background in law or management and other areas, those even engineering students, I would encourage them to look at that as well. From a policy point of view, this plastic waste management policy right now is itself is a hot area to look at, because how different countries are looking at their policy, and why the policies are different in different countries, and what angle they are looking at, what are the pros and cons of different policies, what are the things that other countries which are doing it better can be we can adopt that in Indian context. So, and I said adopt, do not copy. So, there is a difference, you take it, but you have to make it from an Indian perspective. We can learn from others, but we just cannot just copy, and because our situation is way different than what is there in the other countries. So, with that we will be wrapping this particular week. I hope this is the end of the third week. So, we have 5 more weeks to go, and we will I hope you are enjoying the course. If you have any feedback, any suggestions, feel free to put it on the discussion forum, and we will be trying to address those as much as possible. Again, all the reading materials for the every week we have a set of reading materials which is there on the NPTEL platform. You have the details there, and as soon as also the set of slides for each week is also available to you. So, slides, certain reading materials, background materials, rules and other stuff, which will be all weekly. We have a weekly module for reading materials as well. So, you should refer to it, and look at the quiz. You already have done 2 quizzes, 3 quizzes if you have done the quiz 0 as well. So, this will be your now quiz 3. And then, so as you know, every week we will have a quiz, and then finally we will have an exam. If you have not registered for an exam, you need to register if you want to get a certificate. So, with that I would say thank you for continuing with this course, and I hope you are enjoying it. We are trying our best to deliver the best content. Again, this is an evolving course, a lot of material is out there. There may be certain aspect which we may miss, because we can things are, as I said, things are evolving every day, things are changing in this area. So, if there is anything new and interesting, share with us. Thank you.